PKN 264, Taylor and me. I just landed,
Yep.
rushed inside.
You did. You sent a cool picture where you would have definitely died from that height.
Oh yeah. That's I'm a little more comfortable up high. No one gets hurt until they hit the ground. So
That's true.
yeah.
I never thought of it like that. Where like I feel like if I were doing that hobby, I'd be like at around 30 feet. But then if something goes wrong, it's like you have zero time to react, and you're also falling from 30 feet. May as well be 50 feet. You're still pretty fucked.
It freaks me out to be at that high. Even like. Can you imagine a 12-foot ladder? Like, do you know how tall that is?
Yeah. I just got one. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. If you were sitting on top of that and someone were to topple you over, you'd be really hurt. Like, you might break a bone, a collarbone, a radius.
Yeah, you could paralyze yourself doing that.
Yeah, 12-foot ladder is not a joke of a fall. But, when you spend all this time at 2,000 feet, you're like, I'm at 18 now. I guess it wouldn't be a big deal. No, it would. It'd be awful. It'd be awful to fall from 18 feet.
You could break both your legs. We're very bad animals at falling.
Yeah. Cats are good.
Cats solid fallers. Let's rank our top 20 falling animals. Birds. All the birds are
flying squirrels falling with style.
Yeah. Owls, eagles, raptor, falcons.
So they have cheat codes. They're in God mode on this game. That's not even fair.
I remember being like 7 or 8 and getting a book at like the school library about flying squirrels and being dejected when I learned that flying squirrel meant that it could glide from tree to tree and that it couldn't take off.
Oh, they're kind of like Buzz Lightyear. Yeah. It's still pretty cool, but
it's cool. But when you're like craning up, wondering like someday I'll see a flying squirrel like just right above me,
zooming by.
Yeah, that's what I anticipated. It might
bats are neat. So
they're like the dogs of the sky, but nobody owns bats because they all have rabies apparently.
Oh, I think I've told my friend had a bat with rabies, possibly story.
Oh yeah.
Maybe should I not tell it or zoom through it? But long story short, he had a bunch of kids, and he called the authorities to have the bat removed from his attic. That was not the move to make. The authorities alerted like more authorities that was protected. They all had to go for rabies shots, which, if I recall correctly, I think like the rabies shots were $24,000 for him and his 4 children and his wife. And then the whole ordeal was like $36,000 by the time they like threw away everything in the attic and got it resealed. And if bats live in your house, I guess what you're supposed to do is give that part of the house to the bats and get your shots. So
just kill the bats is what I would do, knowing this amount of money is spent.
It probably never happened to me, but there might have been a bat. Not in my attic, but like we had screens. Like we have, I guess, like a screen went. Why can't I say screen? It's a screen. So it's vented. So they were on the outside of the screen, but they had made their home there. And while this probably never happened, it seemed like they would want to come in eventually. They might chew their way in or whatever. So what I definitely didn't do was buy like hornet and wasp spray and just make it a place they didn't want to hang out anymore.
Yeah.
But that probably worked.
What I definitely didn't learn is it works on more than hornets and wasps. Turns out that shit is just poison.
It turns out bats don't like it at all. So, yeah.
I always thought that too about like you'd think the dumbest shit as a kid. Like where if I would see like hornet and wasp spray like in my dad's basement, I'd be like, "Oh, well, that's poison specifically made by some scientist somewhere for wasps and hornets." And then you kind of realize like, oh, they just kind of found like a handful of poisons. And it's like, hey, does this kill that? Perfect. All right. All of these cans are the same. Let's slap some different marketing labels on. Put a scary beetle on that one. Put a scary bat on that one. Put a spooky hornet.
In my head, hornet and wasp spray is hornet and wasp spray because of the can it's in. It shoots like 18 feet in a little, like a tight, it's like a sniper. And, if you're after like houseflies or something, it's a fog.
That's true. Yes. I had some houseflies in my kitchen, and before I went on my recent vacation, like I had gotten most of them. My girlfriend and I we came back from friend's place, or no, we actually had a company over, and everybody had left, and we've been drinking all day, and it was like a Friday or Saturday night, and we were just hanging out, and it got to be like after midnight, and we went into the kitchen to get a snack, and there were like a couple of those like house flies flying around, and so we spent like an hour, me like with a snapping towel, just killing them, and I got real good. I'm high quality.
I'm impressed. Yeah. We're like Bruce Lee over there, just like Indiana Jones and like
saying snap is giving myself too much credit. It's not like a it was more of a slap downward.
And my girlfriend had the nunchucks, and the flies were dropping one by one.
What I figured though is if this pen is the towel you're snapping, you don't try and hit them with the end. You try and hit them with the middle, because then they can't get away. And it smacks them and stuns them. And so I was killing all the flies, and we must have got 4 or 5 flies very drunk over the course of like, it was like 30 minutes or so. And it turned into a fun game. But that was like 1 or 2 days before we left for vacation. And we were both like, all right, let's put up some of those hanging, those sticky kind of gross smelling fly things.
I know
fly
of them. I didn't know they smelled, but anyway.
They smell very, very poor, and so it's like, all right, well, I don't want this in the kitchen, so let's leave them out.
Can we pause on smelling poor? Is it that poor is a bad smell? It smells of a poor person's environment. What does poor smell like?
It smells of a low-income person. No, it smells like just like trash that's kind of been left out for too long.
Okay.
Is kind of what it really smells like. Like if you have a full garbage can and you leave that like for 3 days without taking it out, and there's a little bit of food in there. It's not rancid, but it's like, whew, I'm glad this is not a permanent smell.
Flies.
Exactly.
Right.
And so I have one of those, what are those things called that go over your stove that like hangs from the ceiling and you can turn on the fan? Like
a vent?
A vent, something like that. Yeah, like a decorative vent. So I was just over my stove, like hanging 4 or 5 of those. Come back from a turned into an 8-day vacation because of a snafu. Caught 2 total flies on 6 fly traps. And
you got 4 with a towel.
That's what I'm saying. And the towel was already in the house. It was free. And you could just throw that in the wash. And so I learned, 1, that those things suck. And 2, that we got a lot more flies in that drunken attack fest. A much higher percentage. We thought we'd chop down maybe a quarter of them. I guess we'd gotten.
This is what I think you should be live streaming, Taylor. You against flies with inappropriate utensils, right? It could be a towel, nunchucks, chopsticks. I don't know, but I want to see this live stream.
I'm just gonna have the dumbest fucking live streams. To have my phone like, here at the DMV,
All right.
Probably not allowed to do that.
I've got 6 wolf spiders in the backyard and 1 set of golf clubs. Buckle up, kids. I want to see it.
Which one? Wolf spiders are the ones that don't make nests.
They don't make nests. They're hairy and they're kind of like strong-looking, tarantula-like.
Yeah. What's a huntsman spider? Is that the same thing?
I'm not sure.
Giant crab spiders. Ooh, fuck. Those are terrible looking. But all spiders are terrible. I'd rather deal with snakes.
Really?
10 times rather deal with snakes than that.
Like most people have a unfounded, like unwarranted fear of snakes. There's a couple venomous ones, so that's a big problem. But every snake I see is like an event. Like that's...
Oh, really?
Yeah, like it's a... oh my God, there was a snake. It was right within like 30 feet of me. I don't do that for every rabbit and squirrel and possum, but snakes I do.
See, when the rabbit and the squirrel see us and they jump up the tree as fast as they can, they got the same response to us as they do spiders, as we do spiders. Where like evolutionarily we figured out like, oh, Tunga get bit by little thing, he die. Beware little thing. And then over time, people figure that out. And enough squirrels got their heads caved in by us either wanting to eat them or not caring that now they're like, those monkey things, don't fuck with them. The only ones that are cool are like on college campuses where they're so used to people. That was like a neat thing at school is like you'd be walking around and a squirrel, like a gaggle of squirrels, a murder of squirrels, a herd of squirrels, whatever it would be, will just be eaten 3 feet from you. It doesn't even pay attention. Until eventually somebody stomps on them and then they get skittish.
A scurry.
A scurry.
I had to Google it. I was really curious. I kind of like it, but a group of squirrels is called a scurry. Or
Man,
Dre.
what an awesome job. Yes, I'm a biologist. I'm from the I'm from the Institute of Naming Groups of Animals. Yes,
can people be murders? No. No.
It's already taken by crows. I'm sorry. You can't do that. Murder of crows, scurry of squirrels, gaggle of geese.
Oh.
What? Is there a
I
bad
looked
one?
up group of people and it's group. That sucks.
Oh, that is shitty.
Someone ruined an opportunity there.
I said that these biologists aren't pulling their weight. I wonder what they do all day. Just look at pictures of animals. That's probably not it.
Yeah. Every so often, like, you looking through the list of majors trying to figure out what you're going to be when you grow up, and you see marine biologist, and you're like, oh, do I dare to dream that high? Could I live a life of just fucking at the beach? Maybe or not. I don't know. Do people hire what do marine biologists do?
According to Seinfeld, it's kind of like an importer-exporter. It's just something you make up to get girls. Or that episode where George pretends to be a marine biologist. He's actually on the beach, and there's a beached whale. And there's the woman he's there with is like, you have to do something. He's a marine biologist. He's a marine biologist. He goes in there and sticks his hand in the blowhole and pulls out Kramer's golf ball and saves it.
Get out. I don't remember that one.
Oh, that's a good one.
I wonder how
show,
Seinfeld would be remembered if it went on. What did it go? 7 seasons? 9?
9. Yeah.
9.
Yeah, I think
if
9.
it went 14 seasons, like it could have, right? Like that show was popular. In my head, I might be wrong because I'm not like the biggest Seinfeld fan. Like the fact that it was the last season and we knew it kept the interest alive more than it would have naturally had.
Yeah.
You know, like Wings uses this term, Friends season 7, as a show that doesn't suck, but it's kind of lost the excitement.
Mm-hmm.
Would Seinfeld have gone down as one of the top shows in history, according to some, if it was 14 seasons long?
Probably not. Yeah, you're probably right. Because I think the whole reason Jerry Seinfeld ended it and Larry David ended it is because they were like, we kind of did everything we need to do here. Like, we're kind of feeling like we're scraping the bottom of the barrel. I'm interested in moving on and doing more stand-up and doing other projects. And then he started doing shit like B-movie and doing more acting.
And there was money problems too. Like,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, like everyone else on the show was wanting to get paid a lot more. And they weren't doing it. And they wanted residuals. They weren't getting residuals. Like even now, like George Costanza doesn't get anything from it. But he was getting like $1 million an episode so that he didn't get a back end. And you'd think $1 million an episode is a great deal, right? Well, it turns out that it was actually a great deal on Seinfeld and Larry David's part because what did they sell it for, $1 billion to get on Hulu or something? Like it was outrageous.
They had like probably bidding wars between Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon all wanting Seinfeld because it's the most popular show ever, or up there at least in the most popular show ever. Most popular sitcom ever. I think that's fair. Or I would say they're probably the best sitcom ever. Every episode makes me laugh of that show. There's not like a miss one. Like I'm rewatching some of The Office, not really watching The Office, but having it on while I'm doing other things. And it's funny, but there are whole episodes that I'll turn to on The Office and I'll be like, no, this one sucks. I'm not going to watch this one.
First season or even into it? Yeah.
Yeah.
When the new bosses came in, like I didn't like some of them. And I didn't like first season Michael Scott. In my memory, that show is amazing, but I really think I'm talking about seasons like 2 through 6.
I think you're right. Yeah, because once it gets like it does the same thing that It's Always Sunny does, where except Sunny like self-parodied at one point where they're like, we've all become parodies of ourselves. Mac, you have the worst body dysmorphia of anyone on earth. D, you're about to kill yourself. Frank, I don't know what you're doing anymore. Charlie, there's no one dumber than you. And he's like the most narcissistic person on earth. And they kind of parodied like, in order to keep it fresh, you have to constantly amplify it. And so I was watching like some late season Office last night, and like none in like seasons 1, 2, 3 early on, it was like, oh, this is something that could actually happen in an office that, okay, it's far-fetched. It would never actually happen. But this is really funny. Right. An ill-meaning manager trying to do diversity day and putting cards that say black on the black guy or woman on a man and stuff like that. That might be something that a total retard would do. But by the end, it's like he's screaming and dancing in a toga, like on top of a desk, and the pranks are like genuine assault, the fire and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, this is still funny when you put it in the right perspective, but you've lost your charm a bit. Like it doesn't have that kind of real feeling thing.
It's a really tough thing to tell the same story again and again for 10 years in a row. I understand you have to amp it up and then it gets dumb there. But if you didn't amp it up, it would have been dull. So what do you do?
I think if Seinfeld did another 4 seasons or so, they'd end up being where It's Always Sunny is going to end up, because no one I've talked to who's a huge Sunny fan, and pretty much my whole group of friends, we all love Sunny. Such a good show. But it's not like nobody goes to me now and says like, "Did you see the new Sunny? Oh, it was so funny. It was so out there." Now it's kind of like, "Oh, new season of Sunny. Yeah, I might watch it. I might." And then the whole time you're watching, like, this is weird. This isn't what I fell in love with as a show. Like, it's still good. I won't rip on it too bad. The only really terrible episode that I've thought there was of Sunny, I ignore the entire first season, because if there's no Danny DeVito, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Okay.
So I never go back and rewatch the first one. But that episode where they were all doing it's like episode 1 of a season or 2 ago, where they all start singing, and it's an entire musical episode. Terrible. It's terrible. I don't want a musical episode from you guys.
Kyle agrees with you. I didn't hate it. I didn't hate the Buffy musicals either. Maybe I'm a sucker for gay things.
Well, I'm my anti-musical bigotry.
And you know my pro-gay stance. So if only they could have worked in more Pink songs.
Yeah, those things really do dovetail right into each other. What did he link here?
Yeah, so a 17-year-old swimmer was disqualified for having a suit wedgie.
What?
She's a Alaskan high school swimmer disqualified from a race. There's no pictures of the girl, otherwise I'd show the article.
Yeah, how are you supposed to make a judgment unless you see how ridiculous this was?
You know what? So it wasn't my school, but when I was in college, one of the girls came from a high school where the bathing suit budget was weak. And they had to wear the same the same suits for like training that they wore in meets, which meant that at meets they had pretty much see-through bathing suits. And they talked to the principal and they wouldn't get them new bathing suits. So all the girls got this idea and they all bent over and pretty much showed their snatch, like, and took a picture of this and sent it to the principal. Instantly, they found money for bathing suits for the girls.
Well, they didn't tell you what happened after that. Is he goes, now they go, all right, we won't tell the police you're in possession of child pornography if you give us.
I saw the pictures, and like I'm like 19 at the point. Like in my head, I was like, that's 4 or 5 snatches, right?
Yeah.
Would do, wouldn't do, would. Yeah. There's my takeaway.
I can count the labia.
Yeah, that like it was, they were see-through. You could see how they maintain their pubic hair. Like, like it was just, I can't describe the thinnest of bare materials. I'm sure you as like your strength could have pulled that bathing suit apart with 4 fingers. Just pinch, pull. No big deal.
Yeah.
It was
probably, they should have just done that. Yeah. Oops. All of our swimsuits ripped right in the pussy area. You gotta buy us new ones. Sorry.
Yeah.
How expensive are nice swimsuits for a swim team? A lot? Because they're like marked up and they all have the numbers and your name on the back or whatever.
The comp ones are like $100 just for the girls. And then they get them done. Sometimes they have numbers or at least school logos, and they're custom to that extent. So it's a thing.
I guess guys' swimsuits would be way cheaper because it's just a Speedo, right?
Yeah, well, they used to be. Now guys wear like long pants that are swimsuits or something, because their swimsuits now are smoother than skin, so they want to cover as much as the rules let them.
So they're in like a full bodysuit if you'd let them now.
They've done that. Yeah, there were like Olympics where the Americans had a big advantage. They were showing up in it was like a tank top, but
Mhm.
went all the way down to be like full pants. And the guys were all like breaking records and going so much faster. And then these poor Australians are like, crikey, this ain't fair, I guess.
Now we shouldn't have. I knew board shorts were a bad idea to bring in.
Hey guys, what if we went dongs out? Huh? They'd have to buy us new suits.
You just new ones here. Acts as a rudder. You know, makes you spin a little quicker. Get the momentum of your cock going around.
Hear me out. Helicopter on the starting blocks.
What's the worst country at swimming? I wonder.
Like
one of those like
first one that popped into
landlocked-
my head was Kenya. Like there's always some black African swimmer who can barely finish the course in every Olympics. And,
Really?
Yeah. And like every mediocre American high school boy is like, I could have gone if I was from Kenya or Nigeria or whatever, like some country that barely has a team.
Nigeria's poaching 15-year-olds from European countries.
Yeah. Yeah. There's, they're just, I want to say there's a country where they said there was no pool, but that's a while ago. It's probably 16 years. They have pools by now, I assume.
There are landlocked countries in like Africa.
True,
but
but
I guess
you typically don't
train
train in lakes and shit. Like you train in a pool.
True. But I figured like probably the best swimmers are people who grew up on the coast or like in a swimming area, right? It's just like if you don't have any coast, it seems like it's or no shit, Lake Chad. Damn. And that's the only landlocked country I know in Africa. Maybe the People's Republic of the Congo or Republic of really good things happening here in the Congo or one of those lies.
The top swimming countries, like usually it's like US, China, Russia.
China kicks ass at everything.
Australia is huge. I don't know how I left them out. But I want to say that like China and Russia do well because they're advanced on the cheating side. Those guys come and they're just fucking roided out.
So. I wonder how many of our guys are just as roided out as China and Russia, and it just doesn't get the play. But they're like, oh, this guy's got a lot of. But the Ying Jing Jing over there is even worse. That's not even a woman.
You're probably right. I don't know. I'm thinking in my head, like one hand, you're probably right. And the bodies on. I watched. There was a World Championships in swimming recently, and it was like, oh my god. These guys were like, they came from a vial. They're such perfect swim bodies. But on the other hand, like swimming's not pro football. There aren't a lot of budgets around it. You know who watched World Championship swimming? Me and another dude.
Yeah.
And so I don't know that like they're putting the kind of research into it that they do for like even NHL, and FL of course, and baseball, and like they're things. Arian Foster didn't think that there are a lot of steroids in the NFL, which blew me away. Because
man, I would not think that.
Yeah,
I would think way more guys get away with it than get caught, like just kind of by the nature of cheating.
I think I said NHL, but I meant NFL. And yeah, I would have thought it was totally rampant that everyone was doing it, and their bodies are outrageous. Basketball. So I've been watching basketball lately. The changes in their physiques are incredible. Now, a lot of times they make it to the league at like 19 or 20 years old. So they're going to get stronger from like 19 to 28, right? Like that's a thing that happens to guys. But like that, you evolve from an athletic 19-year-old to a superhuman. And there have to be on roids, right? They have to be.
That must have been a fun time for your sports watching career when Phelps was breaking all his records because you were watching and everybody. It was so funny. Every 4 years, people would be like, dude, we're crushing it. Look at how many golds we have. And then there'd be like a little counter and it'd be like 68% of golds came from Michael Phelps. And we're like, but we love swimming. We love swimming, boys. And then like as soon as he's not the best in the world anymore, people are like, oh, who cares if Julio Sanchez in Portugal is now the best.
It's weird to me that doesn't happen in track. So look, I get it. If you're a great freestyle swimmer, there's a good chance you're great at butterfly, right? And that like if you're the best at one, you could cross train like that and make it happen. And then if you're good at freestyle and butterfly, shucks, that's 2 out of the 4 medley strokes. Like if you're the best in the world at 2 out of those 4, you stand a good shot in the medley. And then they have a bunch of these races in different lengths. So if you're good at the 100, you might be the best at the 200 or the 50. Like, you go either direction on that. I get how swimming lends itself to racking up medals. What's up, track boys? What's up? Why aren't you sprinters doing more long jumping? Why aren't you sprinters? Why is it the long jump guy doesn't even compete in the triple jump? What's happening there? Why is it I've never seen the 100-meter sprinter win the 100-meter hurdles? Why aren't you doing that? There's so much crossover there that happens in swimming on the regular, but doesn't seem to happen in track. I don't get it.
That's true. I didn't think about that. But also, I feel like a lot of people aren't watching the running. You don't
think running's as big as swimming?
Oh, they're both probably about equal. I just don't think like those are usually. I feel like the team sports are the ones people watch the most.
In the Olympics or in general?
In the Olympics, like they have Olympic soccer, right?
Maybe
Olympic hockey is the big thing in the winter, but most people south of the equator don't even compete in that because like. What the fuck is Niger gonna do?
You could have made the Niger hockey team, I think.
Straight up, I need fucking Botswana poaching me, getting the finest digs in all of Botswana.
You'd lose out to that accountant that played for the Blackhawks one game.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
This man, he played for the Chicago Blackhawks. It's like
never let it go in.
Never let it go in. He played for over 12 minutes he played. That is more than our entire team has ever been on the ice. We will no longer have to simulate with slippery plastics left here by the Chinese.
So washed up on shore.
That'd be so funny.
I don't know. I think so for me, like swimming happens the first week and track is the second, if I remember right. And those are the big events. The big sports to watch. I hardly even think about the team ones. I can't even think of the team summer sports.
Yeah, maybe you're right. I don't know.
Softball? Maybe?
Yeah, team summer Olympic sports. You got your... Okay, well, these don't seem necessarily team.
What are they?
Canoeing.
But you don't understand the tactics of canoeing. Like
archery, baseball, softball, basketball.
I carry the picnic basket for everyone, so their canoes are lighter.
Table tennis.
Archery is a team sport? Come on. How is that team?
I don't know, unless you're like switching back and forth. That can't be right. It looks like badminton, baseball / softball.
Duos.
Yeah. Basketball, soccer, handball, hockey. I said Summer Olympics, you fuck. So it was Tokyo 2020. Okay, so I was looking at the wrong one. So they can disregard all of this. Yeah, the Summer Olympics are way bigger, though.
I wonder if they're way bigger everywhere. Like, they're way bigger for us, undoubtedly, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
If you live in Norway, are you like, Summer Olympics are lame? There's no, like, water? There's just ice here. We play...
Probably.
Like,
they probably are like that. Because what is Norway going to compete in the Summer Olympics? Fucking nothing. Like, unless there's a weightlifting portion, and then everybody in Northern Europe and Iceland is like, yay, we're going to dominate. But if there's not that, like, it's funny watching the hockey rankings every year because there's never a surprise. It's never like Italy really looking good this year.
No, but like Czechoslovakia sometimes like fields a team. Maybe.
Oh, they do, and they can be good. Like, or Czech Republic or whatever they are now. And it's always the US, Canada, Finland, Norway, Sweden. Norway, not very much at all, mostly Finland and Sweden. Then Czech Republic, Russia, Switzerland, and I think Germany did their best.
That's a lot of teams. I was expecting you to list like 4, and it's always them. Like US, maybe. Russia, Canada, and another one.
And probably Sweden at this point.
Okay.
Seems like Sweden's doing good. I think they've won a gold medal in the last like a couple of Olympics or something. Which, as a Canadian, getting anything but gold must be sad. because nobody in Canada is stoked on your silver, dude. Nobody gives a shit. They're like, you couldn't have been a little better, you know how many people live in Finland, you dumb fuck?
So in basketball right now, the men's team is getting threatened. They lost a game. Not the biggest deal, but I think they lost a game. And then they've had some come from behind wins and some hold off wins. And we should just be rolling through teams. But it's not what it used to be. Like when they first opened Olympics to the pros in maybe 84, I'm not sure. And Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, the top guys on the planet, all Americans, all wanting to play. Now, the top, Steph Curry, he's not on the Olympic team. He's tired. He's, look, I go deep into the playoffs every year. It's fucking exhausting. Go win a gold medal without me. And that's how it goes.
It's a different dynamic with foreign players where because the NHL didn't let the players go to the Olympics last time, and all the players were requisitioning them to be like, hey, please let us go. We want to play. And now that someone like Ovechkin has won a Stanley Cup and his contract is up next year or whatever, it ends at a time where if he wanted to, I think he could just dip and be like, all right, well, I won my Stanley Cup and you're not going to let me go to the Olympics. I'm going to the Olympics. I want to win a gold for Russia. And who knows, that might actually happen. He's made more than enough money so far. So it does suck when they don't let the pros go. If you're trying to grow the sport, let the best of the best play.
Chiz is linking up. North Carolina has the polls have just closed. I'm pretty sure they're not voting where I am. But
what's it for? Oh, congressional district.
Yeah, this is for House of Representatives, at least in the 9th. I don't know what the 3rd is. And the Republicans cheated and stole an election. They modified and destroyed absentee ballots so that their person won by 900 votes. So those people this is why they're doing a special election, because in 2018 the Republicans got caught cheating.
Ooh,
so now they're rerunning the election, and I guess presumably tomorrow the 9th district will be represented by someone for the first time in a while.
Did you vote, or are you just gonna? Oh, it looks like House 3.
I'm not in the 9th.
Looks like the Republican won in 3.
Okay.
55.7 to 43.7, and then nothing in for 9 yet.
The 9th is about 50-50. So Trump won it by 14. So that was the 2016 situation.
Mm-hmm.
And then the 2018 situation was that blue wave where the Democrats did real well in the House. And they would have won the 9th. Statistically, they show it. They're like, look, these are the way the votes came in. This is this and that. If the absentee ballots weren't so fucked, where suddenly no one in the 9th voted for Democrats, and people were they had ballots that weren't filled out, and the people were filling them out for them and turning them in to vote for Republicans, and then they turn in that as if that's what the person did.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to jail. That's the thing. There's 7 of them going to jail.
Well, good.
Yeah, that is good. But I don't think the blue wave is as strong in 2019 as it was in 18, so it's closer. So we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw
that's what I read. I don't know.
Some good news today.
Mm-hmm.
That fuck John Bolton is gone.
Yes,
one of the worst people ever. I fucking hate that dude. Never seen a war he didn't love.
I said that same thing. Except it was but yeah, I used the same. He's never seen a war he didn't like. And when I first heard it, I was like, you know what? There's a lot of things about Trump that aren't my cup of tea. Mostly honor integrity type stuff. He just lies all the time, but
yeah,
he's anti-war, and I like that. For all his faults,
that's the best thing about him.
He doesn't seem to want to fuck with people all the time. If W was in office right now, we'd be at war with Iran or North Korea, maybe.
Yeah, if Hillary were in office, we'd be at war with Iran or Syria, or she'd amp up things with Venezuela. Bolton actually aligns pretty closely with his past record of being in favor of wars with Hillary. Hillary's the same boat of hawkish as fuck.
You think? Where does that come from? Because I never she never had any power. Like, what are her war stances that you
Well, I mean,
see?
she was still powerful enough that, like, as a congressman, she could like promote things and be like, "This is a good idea. We need to be in over there in Iraq and Afghanistan, and our officials and foreign officials are telling us that this is real and this like it. Not to single her out, but tons of people were doing that at the time." And she also is someone that's much more likely to amp up shit with Russia. Or no, I'm sorry, not Russia. Well, Russia
maybe.
through Iran, because Iran is Russia's
war.
boy.
It's our next Vietnam.
And so, yeah, we need to not, or it could be Venezuela. Who fucking knows?
Right?
But yeah, I'm glad that fucker's gone. I have no confidence that he'll be replaced with anybody less hawkish. But I actually, no, that's not true, because there's no one more hawkish than John Bolton in this entire country.
So for all Trump's flaws, at least he doesn't like starting wars for no reason. And Trump said he fired Bolton. Bolton said he quit. When I heard Trump fired Bolton, I was like, yeah, all right, good move. I like that. Trump did something I like. Tip my hat. And then Bolton was like, no, I resigned. You know, they weren't doing the things I thought we should do, and I resigned, and that's what happens. And I'm like, I bet Trump lied. He lies about fucking everything. He's never told the truth on it. If you ask him what time it is, he lies for the practice. So
I don't know, but like, what's a bigger lie? Being like, oh, this crowd is enormous. It's the biggest crowd. Or, yep, we definitely need to let thousands of people die and kill 1 million Iraqis, because there are absolutely, I've seen the bombs. They're there. That's a bigger lie.
That's from W.
A way bigger lie. That's from W and Bolton. Bolton's been beating that drum forever.
Yeah. I'm not.
I don't really give a fuck as long as he's out.
Saw the bombs?
I don't remember exactly what he said, but he came out staunchly in favor of, like, trust our intelligence officials who definitely aren't going to lie in 19 years about the same shit.
Yeah, Bolton loves war. So anyway, I guess I just hear Trump say something and instantly assume it might not be true, especially if someone counters it.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it depends who it is who's countering, and I couldn't trust someone like John Bolton as far as I could throw him. Like,
depends on the topic.
Like, imagine the terrible. Like, you just have to be a shit person to, like, knowingly lie people into a war. You do. You have to be a bad person to know that you're operating off of faulty intel, and to have other nations. I think it was Israel who was telling us at the time, like, basically, oh, this info came in from our guys, and it just so happens to be exactly what you want to hear. And our guys are like, uncritically, perfect. You're awesome.
Hans Blick was the UN inspector who was in charge of seeing if Iraq had any weapons of mass destruction. And he kept saying, no, they don't see it. We've never found one. There's been no weapons of mass destruction. We surprise them. We schedule it. We surprise them. We bounce around. There's just never any. And they're like, well, you're a bureaucrat. And all of America was like, yeah, he is kind of a bureaucrat, isn't he?
Not like us. We're not bureaucrats.
Oh, no. Yeah. Our government officials aren't bureaucrats in the slightest. But that guy, he's a bureaucrat. So you can't trust a bureaucrat, right? Let's go to war.
Put a commercial on about how there's a new show called Survivor coming out. People are gonna love it. Just bread and circus them into not caring anymore.
They just kept talking about his and I was the one guy in like my little universe who was like, I think that if the standard of proof for going to war should be higher than like capital punishment, right?
Yeah.
It should be beyond of a shadow of a doubt. Maybe have some evidence that they've ever done anything and not just hope you find it after you go in.
Mm-hmm.
We can't let the proof be a mushroom cloud over New York City. That's what Condoleezza Rice would say all the time. And she'd mix it with 9/11. She'd be like, look, Al-Qaeda attacked us on 9/11. And Iraq has weapons of mass destruction probably, and we can't let the proof be a nuclear bomb hit on New York City, a dirty bomb. And I'm like, oh, you just conflated the 9/11 attack with the reason to go to Iraq.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, I could rehash this for ages, but
yeah, it's and then like they're stretching even further with Iran, where it's like, how they never mention like the last time Iran tried to start a war or invade anyone. It's because it's been so fucking long that if they said that like it's been 75, 100 years since they've done anything, like it would make them sound like quacks, like retards. Like,
wait, Iran had a war with Iraq, right?
No, I mean anything with us, like to do with us. Like, They don't do anything. Last time there was a major engagement between the U.S. and Iran, it was us shooting down a passenger plane on their airspace, killing 280 something of their civilians, and we're like, "Oops."
Is that our response? I was curious if there's another side of the story. Like I don't know the details of that one.
Yeah, they didn't respond to it. They didn't respond to it with anything other than being like, fuck you.
Did America say, oops? Like sorry?
I think we probably came up with some excuse. I don't remember the official story they put out there.
More
but
recently,
it was a civilian line.
Iran probably hit a boat. And they're like, that ship was in international waters. Iran was like, that ship was in Iranian waters. And I'm over here like, well, I can't know for sure where the ship was.
Yeah, and it wasn't like how many people died?
A low number.
Wasn't it like injuries instead of deaths, or like maybe even,
that could
like,
be.
I think,
yeah.
It's I don't know. I'm hesitant of all those false flag things now. I just don't trust our media whatsoever.
I'm hesitant to false flag things in general.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe I'm a pussy. It just takes a lot to get me to go to war now or to support war.
That's the way it should be. But anyway, you've been streaming with our boy Wings. How's that
been
going?
It was just the one time, but it was a while. I don't know, 2-3 hours, something like that. And it was a pretty good conversation. I hadn't talked to. I was a little nervous. Like they asked me if I'd do it, and I said yes. I wasn't sure I was actually going to do it. I thought he might say no or something. And then I was like, have him play this game with me. And I thought it would be a nice, like, distraction, from any potential conflict. Like, we both be doing something together as opposed to just, like, straight up just talking with nothing else happening. And Wings would only agree to just meet in Discord. And once we got that sorted out, we just talked and caught up on stuff. I had some questions about some of the Wings greatest hits, like the Korean StarCraft team, his superpower with fixing the car. He faked drinking in a drinking episode once.
Yep.
And
the iced tea
debacle. It was Crystal Light.
Oh.
I have a whole thing about lying. Like, liars think they're slick, but they're usually not. Usually the listener's the slick one who's pretending to be fooled. And the liar's like, yeah, I think I'm getting away with this whole thing. Yeah. He's eating it up. No one believes your shit, you fucking liar. No one believes it. We all see right through it, and we're allowing you to fool yourself. But when Wings drank, he actually did fool me. He was chugging Crystal Light, and he doesn't drink really. So I thought he just didn't realize that he was making a mistake, and then he passed out. But I think he just took a nap.
See, that was the smart way to do it.
Yes.
Just enjoy some nice peach Crystal Light, and then take a nap. And instead of people being like lazy fuck sleeping for half the show, it's like, man, he got hammered. It's like,
oh yeah,
you get a nap and the goodwill of the people.
And he explained that he had watched a bunch of people die of alcoholism, and was kind of an expert in like what it's like to really be drunk, like what passing out looks like. And, all this time he thought he had been watching his family and friends die. He was actually studying for his big day.
Well, he doesn't drink at all because of some family stuff, right? I
think that's part of the motivator.
He's just seen it and he's like, it's not for me.
A little of that and a little of what I have going on, which is just like, I don't really like what happens when I drink, and I don't like the drinking itself. So it's just the worst thing in the fridge.
Yeah, it's the worst thing in the fridge. Oh, makes me feel weird, and it's got a lot of calories.
Yeah, and it tastes bad. That's the combo. Like, it makes me dumb, tastes bad, has a lot of calories. What's the upside of this? It's not. It's not for me.
Yeah,
but
it's a good trait to have.
Yeah, so I talked for Wings for a while, and it was a good stream. I thought people seem to really like it, so that makes me feel good.
You guys have any plans to do it again, or just kind of a one-off? If it happens, it does.
It's funny you say that. I thought it was just a one-off, but I've thought that pretty much about every stream so far. So, who knows what's coming.
How many have you done so far?
I don't know, 3 or 4, maybe 4.
Nice.
One was short. I streamed, and then 90 minutes in, Hope needed help with her accounting homework, so I bailed.
Oof.
Yeah.
Was that a fun blast from the past?
It was, actually. it's she seems to really appreciate it. Like I don't know, like I guess I'm a sucker for someone who's grateful, but she did it. She tried to do it on her own, and then there were a couple showstoppers for her, and but her accounting homework is not hard for me, so I roll in there like just feeling like a hero, like like wait a minute, you're telling me they're trying to derive this year's income from the balance sheet? That's not even a thing. And she's like, it says right here that if you can't answer it from the balance sheet, you say that. And I'm like, say that. The answer's not on that one. Get me the cash flow statement or the income statement. Let's work this out. And so we just go through, and she's just learning her debits and credits. Like, it's entry level stuff, and because of that, I'm really good at it.
That's gonna not be fun when she brings home some obscure like little type of accounting that never had anything to do with what you did, and you're just like, well, no. Let's see.
That happened in math too, right? Like you're helping your kid with math her whole life. Everything's going fine. And like, what do people fuss about? The Pythagorean theorem? I can't say.
Pythagorean theorem, yeah.
Thank you. That's what I'm looking for. Pythagorean theorem. Pythagorean theorem is easy as that is not hard at all. But shit does get hard, like later on. And you're just like, yeah, hope. I think if I help you, you will never develop the study skills you need to get by in college without me. You should probably do this on your own.
There's probably a Japanese kid on Fiverr that can help us out with this.
I never lied about it, but there was I did try to pull back a little so that she'd self-teach, because that's what she'll need at the next level. And also we're just getting to stuff that I either didn't know how to do, or if I got it right, I wasn't doing it in a direct straight line with the kind of confidence and knowledge it takes to teach it.
Mm-hmm.
So my math got rusty.
Ooh, having to help with math homework, that's gonna be so boring. But you can't just do it for him. You gotta let him learn. But also say, don't ever think this is cool.
That's the real lesson here. Two things you need to know.
My math homework. What are you, a fucking nerd? Get out of here.
Two things you need to know. When you calculate the area of a triangle, it's like a square but divided in half, and this shit is gay.
Yeah, shit is lame, dude. Just give me a thump in the forehead.
Did you
go outside and fight your brother? Yeah. Yeah.
How many kids do you want?
2 or 3, I think.
Okay.
Would be ideal. Yeah, definitely not just one. 2 or 3. It seems like 3 is a magic number for people.
The lady in your life, how big was her family growing up?
4.
Including her. So her and 3 more.
Yeah.
All sisters, I think you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
That must be an insane dynamic in that house.
It's not that bad. There's some silly times, but mostly I just avoid it. I'll just go hang out with one of their boyfriends if they get all pissy. And my girlfriend is not the kind of person to be like, she's very go with the flow, chill, relaxed.
I don't know why I said my wife had 2 sisters and they don't have an insane dynamic. But
yeah. Is Jackie the older or the younger one?
The very youngest. Yeah. So she has a middle and an older sister.
Okay. So she got to be the baby of the family.
Yeah,
which always seemed like the most fun position to me.
I think it worked out. You
get to do whatever you want.
That's right.
I remember my youngest brother being like, I'm gonna go out with friends. He'd be like 16, 17 on a Wednesday night. My parents just or my parents were divorced by then, so whatever parent it was, just be like, okay, all right, see you later. And I'd be like, this is beyond retarded. I didn't what? I didn't get to do this. You were you forcing me to have a bedtime almost.
Jackie had her father wrapped around her finger, and the other sisters were envious of that. What? Dad paid off your credit card bill because you were stressed about it? Really? I was stressed about my credit card bill. He never paid off my bill. And she's like, oh, you weren't nice. We've been pals. I helped him work. See that garage? We built that together. He called me Schmitty, pretended I was a boy. Now he's paying off my credit card bills. You should have put your time in, girls.
Oh, Dad, I'm really stressed about the credit card bill I racked up. Oh, honey, you.
It wasn't that. I want to say it was 200, but that was a while ago. So you might call
that's
it
not
like
bad.
350 now. But 350 for like a teenager is hard to save up amount of money.
That's a kind of debt that, like, I mean, I don't have any credit card debt. My girlfriend doesn't. Most of my friends don't, but the people I do know who have it seem to have like a shopaholic problem, where they'll like any and everything they see is like, and it really is a psychological thing. Of like, they've even done like double-blind studies showing that like people even knowing a given budget in a study or something where it's like, all right, you have this amount of money to spend on blah 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 blah, and your plan by the end of the year is to accrue this much or save this much or sock this much away. Here's your cash for you to divvy up into these different piles. Those people are way more conservative than the people who are like, here's your card and just write down in your little ledger what you're going to spend on. Like, there's a psychological, it's the same thing as with freemium games, where it's, all right, you don't want to spend $5 to get your building to finish faster, but you will spend $7 to get gems. And then you can turn in those gems to do these same things to undo the waiting aspect. And it's just creating a additional step to make it easier psychologically to pay. It's
Stuff is weird. Yeah. It happens to me to some, like, I recently, two things happened. I wanted to buy new t-shirts and I'm like, $20 a t-shirt. What am I, Bill Gates? Right? Yeah. Meanwhile, my lunch today was $18 and I didn't think twice. I was just not an issue. Really?
That's something I do. I'll be at like some like Chinese restaurant and I'm like, oh, I want Mongolian chicken, but I want Mongolian steak instead. And they're like, that's an extra $3.50. And I'm like, oh well. just get it going, and I want a soda.
And I'm gonna want you not to bother me with details like that going forward.
Yeah, going forward. No, guac's extra. I know, I came with extra. Yes, yeah. You're not blindsiding me with this revelation.
Do you realize you're talking to Taylor Durka here? I'm gonna need you to back off with the money.
Yeah, to chill. I've got $3.50 of steak money burning a hole in my pocket right now. That is the place where you can spend way more money than you thought you were going to, like Chipotle or Qdoba, whatever, where a burrito, because I always get double meat. Yeah, and every time I'm surprised, I'll get to the end and they're like, all right, $13. I'm like, and they have all the signs up there with the prices and the lists of things, what it costs. And I just went buck wild to this in the middle there. That's the fun part about Subway, or the least shitty part about Subway.
Go on.
You get your paper thin meats and everything on there. Mm. Then you get to the vegetable station and you can just have a ball. Just spinach, more spinach. More spinach. I've asked for more spinach twice before because the woman was not giving me an appropriate amount of spinach. I've asked for more jalapenos. Oh, and I don't mean twice before I've asked for more spinach. I mean, I said, can I have spinach? Can I have more spinach? Yeah, just a little more spinach. Like all in the same transaction.
Do you see the spinach in that spinach container? Put it on the sandwich.
Yes.
Until there's no more in the container.
It's unlimited vegetables. I've got corporate on the line. Oh shit, what did he link? Hopefully not somebody
died.
Fatally shooting suspected kidnapper. Oh. Well, at least he shot the kidnapper. That's...
Oh.
And he's a Cubs fan. Let's see. Is this going to play or do I have to go to breaking911.com? Let's see. Body cam shows police officer.
I think I found.
Yeah, you scroll down a little bit.
1 minute long. Here's a video. Oh, here, I'll pause it then. Start at 2 seconds.
Yep.
Ready, set, play. All right, I think I'm seeing a body cam walk through. There's a guy on a couch. What? Was he guilty?
Fucking move!
That amped up pretty quickly.
I got the weapon. The weapon's clear.
Oh, there's a bunch of guns next to him.
He went for his weapon. I had no choice.
Was there? Well, then the
I
cop.
got the weapon secure. You guys secure
I might
him.
be dead in that situation because I thought the
Yeah.
cop moved a little too fast.
Anybody else coming in? We have him in the very front of the building secure. I have no idea what's in the rear. Please secure the rear.
Yeah. I'm gonna watch the beginning again, try and see if I can see the gun.
Me too. This time I'm turning the audio way down.
Clear up to here.
So on the ground, I see some clothing,
looks like-
maybe?
Oh, there's a gun.
The guy put his hands in the air. Are you identifying that as a gun?
It looks like the thing. I'm trying to go.
You're seeing it right below, like the crack, like the two cushions. If you go straight down, there's a thing there. Is
Yeah.
that what you're talking about?
I think so. That's hard to tell, especially because the body cam's mostly showing his forearm, the cop's forearm. You know, like you can't. These need to be like head top cams.
Like Call of Duty. They knew what they were doing. Walk around like unicorns. So I am going to advance this thing frame by frame and see what
What's
I
the
think.
hotkey to do that?
Period and comma. So I'm going forward with period. So they tell him not to move. He puts his hands in the air. He goes to sit up. I think. I misunderstood that, so I take it back. All right, now he's going to sit up. He swings his feet out. And he has his hand on the couch, like to push his upper body up, as anyone would do.
All right, let me see.
Ooh, he's...
The Civilian Office of Police Accountability released Friday video of a Chicago police officer fatally shooting a suspected kidnapper on the Northwest Side. The body camera video shows an officer confronting a man July 8th in an apartment in the Belmont Central neighborhood. After partially entering the room, the police officer yells, "Don't move, Chicago police, don't move." The video shows the suspect reclining on the sofa leans forward, yells something inaudible, and begins to turn over, the video shows. As the suspect places his hand near an apparent handgun on the edge of the sofa, the officer lets off several shots and the suspect falls to the ground. He later died at Illinois Masonic Medical Center, police said. Ephraim Eady, a spokesperson, said the investigation into the officer's actions is ongoing. The suspected kidnapper, 42-year-old Luis E. Vasquez, has already carjacked two people the night before in the west suburbs, police have said. He drove in the man and woman, both in their 40s. To the blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, he's
held
dead.
them against their will inside an apartment. That to me is a pretty big deal. Like that.
Oh yeah. I thought they were talking about other stuff. Yeah, drove.
Yeah,
the man
well, it
and woman,
goes
both in
into
their 40s.
addresses,
Yeah.
and I can see why you're like, I don't give a fuck. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's where he held them against their will inside an apartment.
So we know he has a gun.
Yeah, and I might be seeing it right around 10 seconds if you like frame by frame it. Is that what's in the cushions there?
I think so. They should get 4K body cameras. This is bullshit.
And he might have even been bringing his hands together, like to use the gun.
I think so.
If I'm seeing what I just said, that was a really good shooting. And I might have erred in the wrong direction if I was the cop.
That's how you end up dead.
Right. I've mentioned it so many times, but I saw this footage of in the wrong spot of a cop. No, the guy was a what were like the Ferguson people that were kind of anti-police? There was a name for them. Black Lives Matter,
Black
maybe?
Lives Matter, yeah.
So a Black Lives Matter like community leader met with the police, and his goal was to kind of like talk to him and explain his side, and the police were there to talk to them and explain their side. And what ended up happening is they had the guy go through police training. And there were a couple scenarios I've made the audience watch, but one was a guy that was totally cool. His hands were up. He was like diffusing the situation as he walked towards the back of a van, and on that bumper was a gun. He pulled it, bang, bang. Well, a fake gun.
Mm-hmm.
And as the Black Lives Matter guy was like, holy smokes. That went from 0 to 100 so fast I would have died. Then there was another situation where guys were fighting each other. And they were both kind of frightening, like physically. Like they were like your build, but two of them, maybe even bigger. And they're wrestling with each other. And then one guy goes towards the cop. He's all aggressive. And the cop decides to shoot. Suddenly, it flips 180 degrees. Policeman, what were you doing? That was my friend you just shot. And he's unarmed. You just shot an unarmed man. For doing what? Walking towards you? And you're like, it didn't seem crazy. The notion.
This is why media framing is so important in all of these incidents.
Yeah. And I learned a lot from it. I'm like, man, if a guy's not complying and standing still, when you say to comply and stand still, I understand why a policeman could get so jumpy because it can go from 0 to 100 like that. This guy, I thought he was unathletically trying to sit up when they said stand still. And now I think maybe he was going for his gun. I think I saw it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then, of course, there's other situations. Like the guy that did that really shitty Simon Says, like, get on your knees and start crawling. But he wanted him to crawl with his hands in the air, which isn't how crawling happens. And he got really confused and they killed him for it. And yeah, like.
That was probably the worst police shooting I've ever seen.
Right.
In that hotel where it was like, put your hand on your head. Lay on your face. Crawl towards me. It's like, what? What? How?
Yeah. That's exactly right.
Could you just, like, in that instance, if you're just so confused, could you just lay out like a starfish and be like, I'm not moving at all?
So the guy was drunk, which inhibited his ability to, like, explain himself. But I like to think that sober me in that situation would be like, officer, you have to understand I don't know how to crawl with my hands in the air. Can you work with me on this? And I probably wouldn't got shot. But drunk me, who knows? Yeah. Or stressed.
He was shooting under stress, you never know how you're going to respond, especially when, a cop's pointing a gun at you. But that one was absolutely inexcusable. This one just shows how gray so many of these situations are, or how gray appearing they can be, and still have a clear-cut answer where it's like, yeah, he was rummaging around and everything, but there was a, 38 by the end of the couch, and he would have turned around and started firing at me. And, you have to be proactive.
He's got 2 carjackings and I think 2 kidnappings. He's facing, right? So, like, when that's happening, people are
He's
less.
a Cubs fan.
But I guess I'm trying to, like, if I know you've got me for expired registration, I'm not opening fire. Like, look, if you throw the book at me, everything's going to be okay. This guy, on the other hand, is dealing with the end of life as he knows it. Yeah. So he's more inclined to do crazy shit.
That's true. Yeah. It's like, not carrying insurance. I'm throwing the book at you. This is going to be a $91 fine.
All at once?
$60. All at once? You have a payment plan?
Yeah. But so, when you get someone and he knows that there's like a couple kidnappings and a couple carjackings that he's facing, he might be inclined. That might have been suicide by cop. I can't get into his head, but that could have been what his thought process was. Mm-hmm. So, anyway, that's a wrap.
Yep.
Good show, man.
Yeah, good show.
Oh, what's the timeline on your streaming? Because I think a lot of people have it faster in their heads than I predicted. Did you order the PC?
I haven't yet. I want to talk to Chiz about it, and he's going to be my resource. So I'm going to have him give me suggestions on, like,
he'll be good at that.
PCbuild.com. And he'll also, he knows, like, cost sensitivity and stuff. And then I'm going to order it, get that set up. I need to figure out, like, a background thing to do, and probably, like, just a basic. I don't even know how much green screens are. They're too expensive. Not doing that. But but we'll see. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna end up doing it. I just got to get the PC and all the parts and everything.
You could grow into it too, the green screen. Like, it might.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be off the cuff.
Are you gonna do a gaming stream? Is that the plan A?
I know so little about Twitch that I'm gonna kind of play it by ear. Like, maybe I'll do just chat and stream to start to get a feel for how the format works and all that, and then after that jump to a game or just I could see myself playing like a Pokemon game on there. I could see myself playing Super Smash Brothers, even though I'm not very good. So yeah, those are the ones I'm thinking. Just kind of lighthearted, more social games, and then who knows? Maybe when, like, I'm not good enough at the Age of Empires games to do that and stream. I feel like I'd be sitting there. I'm pretty good, but, like, trying to do that and chit chat with people, I'll just play computers. Nobody's going to be watching for my gameplay.
Yeah. I don't have Much advice. I don't think of myself as an expert on the topic. I did have something though. I like the way you're thinking about being able to interact with the chat, because they're not there just to watch how good you are at that. They're there because they like who you are.
When I get set up, we'll have to stream together. And then Kyle's going to have a setup too. Oh, it's going to be just a bunch of boys having a rowdy time.
Everyone wants me to play Borderlands 3. It comes out really soon. So
you should. Yeah, I'll probably end up I'll watch a couple videos and see.
Exactly. Maybe get some initial. I don't know. It's not that expensive.
Yeah.
But I've been streaming the same game, and variety streaming is better, according to Chiz, than single game streaming. And there it is. I just like that game because I played it a lot recently and don't suck. But I'll switch to something and I'll suck, and I guess I'll end up doing more push-ups.
It's just the way she goes.
The last time I streamed, I straight up just wanted push-up motivation. I was like, I really should do push-ups. I see this show's over. We're past an hour, but I'm meeting my doctor about the bad elbow tomorrow, so I'm psyched for that.
Good. Hopefully there's some good news.
I make a lot of bad decisions, so I have a good relationship with an orthopedic surgeon.
Yeah.
and we'll sync up. He's outstanding, and we'll develop a plan.
Nice.
So now all I do is push exercises.
You're doing what you can do.
There. All right. Well, anyway, PKN 264 probably.